Hey, this is Zenny. I saw that the warboss asked for some bot analysis in the Wagner channel, so I decided that I would do some. So I'm gonna run through these pretty quickly, um, and I hope that what I have to say will help out.
Our window is zoomed in, huh?
Yep, I'm fixing it.
This matchup's pretty hard for Phonon, in my opinion. Wagner's force function in neutral is pretty strong, and her pressure is pretty difficult for Phonon to escape from. 6-6C here is fine. Policing with 6-6C at the start, especially in a beginner tournament, is fine because your opponent does have to respect it. It's a 10 frame advancing low. With resources, it does quite a bit of damage and has full corner carry. It could have got thrown for that shield bash. They needed to force function that fireball. This is one of the reasons why the matchup can be difficult for Phonon. Normally she can rely on this kind of thing, but you could have very easily pressed force function and drilled her landing, or 2 and 4x'd her landing, choosing between A or B based on distance. Nice counter hit. Not nice combo. I think somebody in the Wagner channel already mentioned the combos and like sent you the doc. I would suggest spending significant time on that just because Wagner really needs to be doing maximum damage with every hit. That's something that enables her a lot.
But once that falls through, she's kind of in trouble. Warboss starting.
This shield buff. You need to be closer before you use it though. Having shield buff is cool because if you're at a certain distance, like about this far away from Phonon, her doing up back fireball suddenly is extremely dangerous, especially if you have CS. So a lot of the times they just straight up won't do it if you have shield buff, and it's a free pass for you to just dash block at her a lot.
Really strong here, taking most of Kokoren's life with that sequence. But Kokoren getting a chance now himself.
Oh, let's go.
Metered ender to the corner. Oh my goodness, 6B out of that.
Oh, that's it, yeah. Okay,
Whoa.
interesting.
Whoa.
Yeah, you mentioned it before, but I think...
Yeah, this is why I say round start, if you're going to police these kinds of buttons, you need to be pressing 6-6C and not drill. They're both 10 frame, but drill has a lot of travel time and 6-6C does not. So 6-6C will arrive at their ankles on frame 10, whereas drill won't. And drill can end up losing to much slower buttons like this as a result.
Good acknowledgement.
If you used charge 2 and 4B there, it would have been a big counter hit. It's probably your best starter.
Yeah, I think he was trying to like delete a projectile. Right.
Yeah, we need better combos, for sure.
Yeah, we got a couple new wags today.
Against that move, 6FF, there are a few follow-ups. The most important one is the overhead follow-up. It's not reactable, and it's much faster than the rest of them, which are low or mid. I believe actually they're all the follow-ups are mid, and they can follow up with a low because it's normal cancelable. But the point is, you should stand up when you see Phonon 6FF.
All right, there's Phonon 6 force function. That's a really good move. It's barely minus.
It is a good move.
And has kind of 2 follow-up opportunities. One high and one is like the rest of her normals. So that's a lot of Phonons, I think, built their game plan around that.
Yeah, we need stronger combos and better enders. If you open the Neo Wagner combo document and master the first like 10 or so combos there, like the bread and butter ones, you'll be like 3 times the player instantly. Nice block.
Baits the wake up DP, and that'll do it.
I'm mostly just gonna watch like the round ones of these. Oh, we're fighting Kokoren again. I believe you said this was the round 2. Chaos Wagner is interesting. I personally think that it's like slightly in Wagner's favor. But Chaos has quite a few answers that a lot of characters don't, that are pretty solid, like this one. Round start 6-6C against Chaos is pretty dookie, because Chaos isn't going to press anything round start. against you because they just don't really like the if they press Aussie specials, it's too slow. He just dies to you pressing 660. So they're pretty much always going to up back Aussie. So I would suggest in this matchup not using 660 as much. Oh my gosh. You need to block. One of the things about this matchup that you need to learn really quickly is that a lot of it is pretty much just about grid. Chaos desperately wants to win the cycle because of his Vorpal trait and how if he uses CS, it refreshes all of Ozzy's specials. And he doesn't want Wagner to have it because if Wagner has it and Wagner has shield buff, then he lost neutral already. So it's pretty important that you win the cycle, and when he's all the way over here, he can't really stop you from shielding because Ozzy doesn't have standing overheads. So using one AD instead of just tapping D to shield at these like, you know, full screen spacings is really good because Chaos can't overhead you for it or throw you for it, and Ozzy can't overhead and throw you for it. And if you use one AD instead of just tapping D, then you won't whiff a green shield, which is pretty important. You can kill Ozzy, obviously, but this is not something that you should be trying to do before you've seen what the opponent's habits are. You know, as the Chaos players you fight get better and better, they'll be able to vary their strings more and more because that's just kind of a natural progression of player skill in this game. And in the end, mashing on Ozzy will always be a risk. But the point I'm trying to make is that a much safer alternative is to try and win the grid war using shielding and dash blocking. At this distance, the only way Chaos wins the cycle is if you whiff green shields because you're not using 1 AD, or if he stands there and concentrates and you let him do it and make up the lead. Of course, if he's concentrating here, he's not hitting you with Ozzy. So that'll give you some openings. Yeah, we need better combos and real enders. I did catch some of these games live, and I remember the commentator around this time saying something about how you can pretty much always mash on 6CFF because 6C isn't safe. First of all, 6C can easily be spaced to be safe. It's only -5. And force function itself is a frame trap. So I don't really know what they're talking about there. It's not that simple. Yeah, you're just kind of dying to the dog. That's where dash blocking will come in handy. You need to work on your meaty timings as well. These options you're choosing to meaty aren't necessarily wrong, it's just that like the damage is, or the timing is not correct. Yeah, need better combos. If you just use the Neo Wagner combo document, you'll get that fixed up right away. You can convert there with so you did 6-6C drill. You can do the drill follow-up and then convert with J236C for more damage. Yeah, it could be doing a lot more damage than that. And have Oki. So I think the combos are a pretty consistent issue.
Really interesting. What kind of regression does it have? Balls are getting cracked.
Oh my
A lot,
yeah.
and you know it gets a lot of mileage. Warboss can recreate it, or if the matchup plays in just a totally different way.
Watch this one versus Fidaken.
Oh, tries to jump back around start, gets caught by DP.
Nice shield. Less nice shield.
DP a lot, and a lot of mileage. Warboss just holding one. Fidaken sees that and says, "Okay, if you're just gonna sit there, I'm coming in." Ooh, 6C makes contact. Side switch. Okay, my corner now. Ah, boneless. Doesn't have a means to actually enforce the CS there.
Yeah, Fidaken's gonna really have to block those.
Oh my god, the skulls are getting cracked.
Oh my god, I'm seeing
Another
so many
overhead.
6Cs.
I don't know what the delay is in this game. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but I will say that the sooner you start practicing without using a lot of overheads, the faster your offense will improve. Just because this game is not designed in a way where overheads are mixed by themselves. You know, they're tools to bait out and break shields. Certain overheads have low crush properties like Wagner's, so they're useful in that way too. You know, they have particular uses, and the ways that they're being used here are kind of just being thrown out there, and they're just hitting because, you know, maybe the delay is too high or your opponents are too new at the game to really like react properly. But yeah, I would suggest trying to run offense using fewer overheads.
No, I agree. Go for it.
Not that you should never use them, but you should be disciplined in making sure that the way you're using them is correct instead of just like random. Because net play in this game will lie to you.
Go for it.
It's true. It's actually not a small pot.
Oh, 660 round start.
Yeah, convert with J2360 there.
Get blocked. Jump over Taco.
Let's go. This should be some nice damage.
Gets the grid break. Guarding low from the other side there. Probably got a little discombobulated.
Yeah, I gotta stand up when you see 6FF.
Says, you know, Scare, I know.
And that fireball there could have been punished. You have 100 meters, so drilling gives you a conversion if you get the hit.
So they were guarding low from
And you had to keep in mind that
overhead.
this is part of the reason why the matchup is scary, right? When she uses that really long, like 3/4 of the screen whip move, she has to special cancel it. And most of the time they'll special cancel into pillar because they don't want you to be force functioning this gap.
I know, Scare, I'll hit you with overhead.
Force functioning, or if you have shield buff, doing charge 2 on 4B. So yeah,
Adaptation station.
Yeah.
just an example of how force function can be used in this matchup.
Yep. It's very effective. Again, it's very effective until it's not.
Yeah.
And let's see. And this is the
6Cs a lot. We'll see if
the
comes into
the rematch.
Kokuren, you know, we were admiring his adapt a lot in the bracket.
I like the way that you're playing it way more already. It's totally fine to just block around start. You shouldn't have jumped here. Again, if you're doing stuff like that, it's just denying you a chance to shield the fireball or use force function on it. Jumping around it looks and feels good, but it's not actually good for those reasons. Like, you could have already been, if you had been sitting here and dash blocked instead, you shielded this on reaction. Oh my gosh, like you're already so far ahead in the cycle, you know.
A lot. We'll see if that comes into play. Kokuren, you know, we were admiring his adaptation from the beginning.
But these dash blocks are much better.
Funon gets first blood.
See how close you got to them, right?
Comes into play.
They're horrified of you. That's why they up back there, because you're way too close for their comfort, right? And you could have blocked this too, and then, you know, all of a sudden, without getting hit and without really taking any risks, you've managed to totally close the distance, right? That's the strength of dash blocking.
Here we go. Funon gets first blood.
Again, looks and feels good, but could have got shielded here. This is a punish and he would lose the cycle.
The combo though. Pressure from Wagner, tick throw, sword buff up. Ooh, fireball catches.
I like how warboss always uses
Pressure from Wagner, tick throw, sword buff up.
This is a good space to do 2-2B. You might have known that they were going to use 3C here, so you backtacked and did this, which is fine, but I'd be careful about doing that as a habit. But this is great, because now you can dash block in, get really close, right? And if you're not... I feel like that was supposed to be charged to 2 on 4B, and you got 2B by accident, and that does happen, but, you know, close the distance a little bit, and then use it. You have the cycle here. Pretty much, there are not very many people, or things that people can do against charged 2 on 4B with shield buff plus CS. There's very little counterplay to that in neutral. Oh my goodness.
Normally a character like Wagner who has really strong frame data, really strong normals, you want to stay as far away from them as possible. So having a built-in mechanic that just says, I'm going to be stronger if you let me do that, is, you know, it's a great way around that and rounds out her character really well. Oops, 6C blocked, force function, safe, plus even, 5A to enforce the plus frames. Does it again.
Yeah, see, this string is not working out for you.
To block all these overheads.
Well, because I mean, warboss isn't confirming off the 2As, so like just block.
Yeah, so yeah, there you go. What do you want to take? 2 2As for 600 damage or 6C for 3400 damage?
Yeah. Yo, that was a nasty throw.
Yeah, you should be shielding these fireballs. If you're not gonna force function them, you should be shielding them. And that combo could have done 4K meterless.
And keep into the sky while doing it too, to turn off options like shield and drill.
Warboss, in the future, if you get a counter hit with 2 and 4, literally just dash up 5C into your good confirm. It's Wagner's best starter. You'll easily break 4K.
That 2 on 4 there though was way too close, and Kokoran was able to punish with the 5.
It was good.
Yeah.
Good use of CS.
With the 4 damage. Okay, 2A for your 2A. Warboss still takes it though.
I know that it worked out for you here, but I would suggest literally never doing this round start. That was an insanely late button by your opponent. I'm not really even sure what they were trying to do there.
Does this side switch? Not quite. Oh, it kind of did.
Oh, I thought that was
Okay, that's...
for sure. I can't believe that
Knockdown. Plus spacing. Watch out for 6B. Oh, up drill, the hard read. No 6C there. I thought it was coming. There it is. Okay, plus frames. Grab instead this time. Very nice. Oh, catches the VO, but no punish. Phonon gets a chance here.
Yeah. It's going to be a decent chunk of damage because she was in VO.
Alright, again, Phonon, you have the life lead, you got Vorpal, you got no reason to go in.
Yeah, you're... This is kind of another issue that you're having right now, is that you're like...
Phonon, you have the life lead, you got Vorpal.
You're just kind of getting hit because you're just always pressing something,
No reason
you know?
to go in. It works out.
Like in these scrambles,
Playing with fire.
unfortunately in uni, most of the time when somebody drops their combo, they're still plus, so I would suggest trying to get that habit out of your fingers as fast as possible. You know, you should recognize that you don't have the advantage anymore and that you really shouldn't be smashing buttons. But that's the end of it. I would watch every game, but I think that we've probably already covered everything that needs to be covered. I'd say biggest thing is to work on your combos and your enders. Understand your basic Oki. And that'll take you very, very far. Against Phonon in particular, look to build an understanding of when you want to force function those fireballs and when you just want to shield them. You should block more, just in general. And go into training mode, learn your character's frame data, try to get used to her buttons so you can vary them more and you don't have to only do this one string. And just one thing about Wagner round start, I'll say is that she's actually pretty simple round start and works almost exactly the same way versus the entire cast. And I've already commented on this a bunch, so I won't dwell on this, but your round start options tend to just be 6-6C, block, walk back. I'll just put it as 4 here. And that's pretty much it. You have access to things like 2-3-6C and assault and all this other, you know, goofy stuff, but you really don't need any of that. 6-6C is really nice because with meter you get a big conversion, and it polices people for pressing buttons round start. So it's useful in that respect. But your mileage may vary in the matchup. And pretty much everybody has counterplay to it. It's just a good button to police someone with. Block is probably block and 4 are probably what you're going to be doing a vast majority of the time, just because this is a risk. And you don't always have to take the risk. Blocking is totally fine, and so is 4. You might want to be careful of this one, because some characters do have some good answers against 4, but for the most part, can't go wrong with blocking round start. So yeah, every round start's pretty much going to revolve around like, okay, what can my character do against Wagner's 6-6C? And then it moves on from there. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, I'm Zenny. You can just send me a message or, you know, ping me in the Discord, whichever works best for you. But I would just suggest brushing up on your combos. Use the Neo Wagner document or School Bus's ST B&Bs. Those are fine too. The Neo Wag doc is just the most updated. Learn your combos, learn your enders, block more, and try to think about the cycle.